The case against suspects in the disappearance of 2 people has been postponed. Motsoaledi is confident HIV and AIDS programs are not at risk. Minister in the Presidency Khumbudzo maintains there is no genocide in South Africa, and Intercape accuses police of inaction. I'm Ntandoyenkosi Kubheka, and these are the top stories that made headlines today. Case against suspects who are involved in the disappearance of Azarin and his partner Zutam Zuli has been postponed to the 19th of May. 3 more arrested suspects were meant to appear before the Wamhlanga Magistrate Court on Thursday. The suspects were arrested on Tuesday morning when police raided a hideout in Noganing. Forensic tests are underway to confirm the identities of the remains believed to be the couple.
Yeah, the tests are still outstanding and the families are waiting for that. They've accepted that their loved ones have passed away, but of course the police have cautioned that we also need to wait for the DNA test for the final technical confirmation, because that scientific confirmation is also needed for other things to also kick in terms of funeral services and memorial services and other arrangements that may need to be put in place. So we are appealing to the families, and we continue to support them to just be patient with the police as they do their work.
Health Minister Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi says there are no risks that HIV and AIDS programs will collapse. He was given an update on mitigating the impact of the withdrawal of PEPFAR funding on Thursday morning. Motsoaledi says the U.S. funding makes up only a small part of the program. The minister further added that the government is halfway to its goal of providing treatment to 1.1 million people living with HIV and AIDS.
You know that there are 7.9 million people in South Africa who are estimated by UNAIDS to be HIV positive. Now, at the moment, in terms of the UNAIDS target, we are at 96, 79, 94. And today we have 5.9 million people who are on antiretroviral therapy. When we started this program, we needed 5.3 billion rand. Today, we are spending a whopping 46.8 billion rand, of which 7.9 billion is from PEPFAR, the money that President Donald Trump has announced that is withdrawing. Now, it is inconceivable that out of 46.8 billion rand spent by the country on HIV/AIDS program, the withdrawal of 7.9 billion by President Trump will immediately lead to a collapse of the entire program. We believe it's inconceivable. Ladies and gentlemen, we must put it categorically clear that under no circumstances will we allow this massive work performed over a period of more than a decade and a half to collapse and go up in smoke because President Trump has decided to do what he has done.
On to the story now. Parliament maintains there is no genocide in South Africa. Minister in the Presidency Khumbudzo spoke at a briefing earlier. She was outlining the outcomes of the week's cabinet committee. She discussed the issue of 49 Afrikaners going to the US as refugees and President Ramaphosa's upcoming meeting with Donald Trump. The executive is believed to have discussed the third budget attempt and rocky relations with the US. President Ramaphosa is expected to visit the Oval Office on Wednesday. It comes after a small group of Afrikaners relocated to the US under the so-called refugee status.
We have been invited by President Trump. He is the one who made the public announcement that he is going to meet with us next week. So there is no one who invites a guest to mistreat them. So we are expecting the highest level of decorum and necessary protocols to be accorded. It doesn't mean we'll agree in all matters, we'll differ, but we believe that our relationship with the US is mutually beneficial. There are more than 600 US companies here in the country. Part of their largest automakers are in the country. Part of their biggest electronics and telecoms companies are also big investors in these countries, whether it's Google, whether it's Amazon, whether it's Microsoft. They are here in their huge sizes, and they continue to make investment. South African companies are also invested in the US, whether it's NAMPAC, whether it's with them. There are mining companies, I just forgot their names. They're invested in the US. We've got mutual investments. We also have that which the US will require, the critical minerals, and we have approved the strategy of critical minerals. So our relationship is very mutually beneficial, and that's the focus and of our emphasis. And depending on the time, the President's program will include other meetings, depending on the travel time to and fro, and that program will be articulated by the spokesperson of the President.
And finally, Intercape is considering approaching international human rights organizations in global court. It says this is because police are not responding to a take on its buses. The bus company appeared before the Portfolio Committee on Police on Wednesday. It has opened over 200 cases ranging from murder to intimidation and extortion.